Hey everybody, it's Zeb here. Today I'm going to show you how to play Crash Team Racing on your PC. We're going to download an emulator and some plugins and get the game running, and it's going to work just fine, just as if it was on a console. I'm taking for granted the fact that you actually own the game Crash Team Racing. Otherwise you can just download it. I'll get to that later. So the first thing to do is to go to their website, the official website of the emulator, download the latest release, which is 1.7. Go into downloads, download section, EPSXE 1.7. Yeah, that's it. So just download that. Wait for it to load. Okay. Save it as a zip file on your desktop. Now, that's the main program, which is gonna actually get the game running, but we also need plugins. It's not going to just do the job on its own. Okay, so once you've extracted the program from the zip, here it is. This is the emulator. To get it actually to work, you know, to play the games, you need the plugins, and you've got to put them in the plugins folder for the graphics, sound and CD. You'll find the best plugins over at Pete's website, so just go ahead and go to his website and you will find all the plugins you need for the graphics, the sound and the CD. You need these three components, these three plugins, to get the emulator to work. So first of all, let's go and get Pete's GPU plugin, which is the graphics plugin. Okay, so we're gonna choose a DirectX plugin. I'm not gonna go for the OpenGL one because I'm using a Direct 3D card, so I recommend you use that too because it's globally compatible, I think, with every card. So go ahead and download his Direct 3D plugin. Okay, let's just download that. We'll put that into the plugins folder later. Also, I recommend you download his CDR plugin. Although this is it's not obligatory, you know, you don't really have to use it if you're running an ISO. If you're running a CD image, you don't need the CD plugin. But I recommend it of course if you want to play the game right off the CD. But you know, if you're doing this, you can and will have speed issues because as the emulator reads the disk, games can and will slow down, unfortunately. So I recommend using an image. You might want to download the sound plugin also, but you don't really need it because there's one integrated with the emulator, although the plugin does make it slightly better, I think. Okay, so the last thing you need to get the PlayStation working is the BIOS file. The BIOS file is actually the code used by the PlayStation to run the games, and you're gonna rip it and use it on the PC to run them on the PC. So you can download this file from FileFront, and I'll give you the link here. Just download it. Okay, now you should end up with 4 files, 3 plugins and the BIOS. So now we're gonna proceed to extract them into their folders. The first 3 into the plugins folder and the last into the BIOS folder. So here's the plugins folder, and you're gonna extract this there. Okay, let's extract this. The plugins here, as you can see, I already have my stuff in place, but I'm still gonna show you for the sake of it. Here you go. So you put in all your stuff right in here. CDR plugin, GPU plugin. Just toss them into there and the emulator will read them. And do the same with the sound plugin also. Okay, so now we have all our plugins in place, we can proceed with the BIOS. Okay, now I'm aware I'm overdoing it with the simplicity, but I just wanted to be sure that everybody got to use this emulator. So I'm trying not to take anything for granted. The BIOS file is in bin format, and you must not extract it. You just put it in as it is. It's a bin file and it works by itself. So once you've put it in the BIOS folder, then that's it, you're done. You're ready to start the emulator. So go ahead and open it up. Okay, here we are. The newest version, 1.7. So the first thing you have to do is to actually configure these plugins to get them to work. You got to tell the emulator what plugins you want. So you're gonna have to choose Pete's Direct 3D driver 1.77, configure. Okay, now if you know what you're doing, you can tweak this stuff. Otherwise, I would choose nice or fast, depending on what system you have, your hardware. Okay, if you downloaded the sound plugin, configure that too, like so. Pete's sound plugin, choose that one, and okay. If you know what you're doing, you can configure it, and then okay. I'm gonna go ahead and configure the BIOS file right there, and okay. I'm gonna skip configuring the CDR plugin since I'm not using a CD to play the game, and I do not even recommend it, but if you want to, and if you've downloaded it, you can go ahead and configure the CD plugin also. Okay, so here I have my Crash Team Racing CD image, which I downloaded, which is a CD rip of the original game, and we're gonna run that image with the emulator. To do that, I'm gonna go to File, Run, ESO. You run CD if you've got a CD, but in this case I run the ESO file, and let's go browse to my Crash Team Racing image, and we'll choose that, open it up, and the game will start. You need to own the PAL version of Crash Team Racing in order to play it on the emulator, because it's the only version which runs. The others all crash. You need the PAL version, okay? Because if you don't use it, the game will crash as soon as you start a race. There is a crack out there made by the Paradox team which bypasses this crash with the other versions, but in that case you only can play from up to 1 to 2 players, and if you activate the multi-tap feature, the game will crash again. So it's still recommended to use the PAL version if you want to play in 3 or 4 players. Oh, and another thing, if you plan on playing the game from a CD, say you own the original CD, in that case you're gonna have to configure and download, of course, Pete's CDR plugin. And it can be a little tricky to configure at first. You have to activate subchannel reading, and probably, I think, if I remember correctly, you have to create a subchannel file from your CD for the plugin to read in order for the game to run correctly and smoothly. And also, the main reason why I don't like playing games from CD is that it really slows the game down, you know, because it's got to actually read in real time from the CD instead of on a file from the computer. So it slows it down. So I just recommend you rip an image. Even if you have the original game, I still recommend you to rip the image and save it on your computer. And last but not least, on mininova.org you can find all kinds of games to download for the PlayStation, PC or anything. And here's where I got my Crash Team Racing image. And it's this torrent uploaded by user Jackass is the PAL version, and this is the version you're looking for, and it will work on the emulator. So I suggest you download this one if you don't have the game. So go ahead and grab this torrent if you need it. This concludes the tutorial to play Crash Team Racing on your computer. Have fun and drive fast.